Yo, what's up everybody? Good to see you and welcome back to the Potato Boat YouTube channel. Today we are dipping back into that goodness that is tier lists. Last time we did a video ranking the best weapons in the forest, and today we are going to be checking out enemies. That's right, there are some really easy to roll enemies in this game, and then there are ones that I dream about at night and make me want to die. So that's what we're going to be getting into today. But before we get started, let me know which enemy you hate the most down in the comments below. I want to see if your tier list lines up with mine. I'm going to go ahead and tell you probably not, because my S tier is wild. So that being said, let's get into it. All right, so here we go. As you can see, we have again 5 tiers, a little bit different named, but from S down to F, and then we have all of our enemy types down at the bottom. So to give you a rundown, in case you know you're not reading, you're listening or whatever, our S tier is the "why are we still here just to suffer" meme. These are the ones that make me want to uninstall the game, or they cause me night terrors. And the second base, the tier A, we've got "my base is gone and I'm crying, but I'm all not dead yet," which I think is probably just as bad as being dead, but you know, because base building is something that I take very seriously. The B tier, we've got "a formidable foe, but who..." Wait, where did my arm go? These are the little bit tougher than average, but they're not like game crack. You know, they're not gonna destroy my base unless I let them do so. In the C tier, we've got "I'm only potentially threatened by my own stupidity." These are the pushovers. These should be like, you know, if I understand the mechanics of the game, shouldn't be an issue kind of deal. And then finally, the F tier, not even a threat. Literally, like I could be out there with the F tier weapon and still be okay. So that's our tiers for today, and let's get started by starting down in the F tier. We're gonna start with the very easy one, the Starving Cannibals. These guys are literally like meant to be like the crappiest enemies in the game. You can identify them because they're usually really hunched over. They're like really skinny. They're like almost like burnt charcoal kind of deal. They don't take that many hits, and honestly, like, I'm pretty sure you could be out with this is like the beginning of the game, or like you're out with, like, you know, your survival axe you came off the plane with, and these are the dudes that are just like unfortunately there for you to cut up and get all the mutants and all the cannibals mad, and also, you know, make some delicious fingy sandwiches out of. They're not really enemies. They're just there to show you, hey, there's people here who don't like you, also eat people. So these are the ones that, like, if you come across these guys, they're pretty wilted, they're pretty withered. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So they're the only ones that I'm going to put into the F tier. Moving on to the next group, this kind of just makes logical sense. You have the non-starving cannibals. You have the regular, make up a lot of your early experience, but they're not necessarily easy. They're the ones that will mob you in groups of like 5. And you're like, oh, this is easy, and you're swinging your axe because you've been killing the F tier dudes. You didn't realize that they're all dead. You made them extinct, and so now all the C tier dudes roll out, and you're just swinging your axe, and all of a sudden your health bar's gone, your armor's gone. You're missing probably, you know, some valuable resources, and you're like, I probably should actually start building weapons that aren't like the plain axe. They're not too terribly difficult. Again, you're only really threatened by your own stupidity if you're walking around with basically no weapons, or you're walking around with like low health, no armor or whatever. These guys are going to snap your ankles, but like that should be the only time. These are the ones you kind of want to do it with the F tier people. These are the ones you want to just kind of like kill them pretty easy and build a fire and burn them and make their bones and armor, because that bone armor is nice. And also, these guys aren't hard to farm, especially if you build traps. These guys, most of these guys, but these guys especially, these two groups, these are the ones that you like one shot with your traps. And so if you've been watching our playthrough, which, pause real quick, if you have not been watching our playthrough, we are currently playing through the forest with me, myself, and I. We've got your boy Dream, we've got AFK, and we've got Herbal Gerbil. If you have not seen that yet, we're up to like part 13, 14, 15, or depending on when this releases, so go check that out. There should be a playlist somewhere magically on screen telling you to go watch it. You should go watch it. The reason I say that here is because we have built our base out of rock, right? We have a nice big double-decker stone wall, and around the entire thing we've made this like twisted evil scientist level of traps, specifically like the tree fall traps, or like the ones that I actually forget what they're called, which I feel bad making a tier list and forgetting, but like they're the ones that are like they just got to trip the stick. So like these guys, we just run them through, just let them get smashed, pick their bodies up, take them inside, burn them, make some armor out of them. Like that's what these The C tier and the F tier are 4. So the B tier, these are going to be your main body of enemies. Now we're going to get into the B tier, and we're going to start with the flame cannibals. These dudes are the ones that carry around torches, the flaming tennis balls they throw at you. They look like they're in a cult. Shout out to the Kids Bop, hierarchy. If you've not seen our videos, go watch them. The Kids Bop hierarchy, that's these dudes here. They're sitting there literally just hucking stuff to set you on fire. It sucks because of the potential burn damage, and then they're usually mixed up with a group that's charging you and they're sitting in the back hucking stuff at you. These guys can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. They themselves one-on-one aren't that bad, other than the fact that they do dot damage and it hurts. So you probably don't want to let them live. If you get mobbed by a group and you see a flaming tennis ball come by your head, kill these dudes first. Shove that tennis ball back down his throat, because I can't tell you how many times I've been like engaged in combat 1v1 with people, and all of a sudden I get a flaming tennis ball to the side of the head, and that turns the whole fight. So make sure you kill these dudes like ASAP. All right, and then that brings us to kind of the same, I feel, group of people. I call them the Chieftains. I don't know, like they're the painted cannibals. They have like all the crosses and the CD necklaces and the light sticks that someone's skull is like a floodlight, which I don't even know logistically how that works. These guys are usually pretty freaking tanky. They stand tall, they're beefy. I don't know what they're eating that much protein to have pecs like they do, but they're there and they want to make your day bad. So they're usually, again, there's the group from tier C, right? They're there to mob you, and then you've got like 1 or 2 of the flame bros, which that's why they're B tier, because they're the ones that will do the damage to you. And then you got some chieftains mixed in here. Sometimes they roll in a party, but usually these are the big beefy dudes. Some of them come equipped with the head club that we talked about in the other weapons tier list video. They will beat the snot out of you and not think twice, take you home and cook you. So you don't really want to you kind of want to focus them down too. But also, if there's a big group of them and him, you probably don't really want to you really don't want to go 1v1 all that, unless you are kitted, you've got some good gear, all that. Now, all of these guys are all susceptible to traps too. I'm pretty sure this group is still one shot by traps. A lot of things are one shot by traps, especially depending on which trap you build. For me, these guys feel like they avoid traps a lot better than the little giggling idiots you get in the first 2 tiers, right? You're like those guys. These guys I don't feel like run towards the traps very much. You can still run them through traps and kite them, but it feels like they're a little bit stronger. I'm also gonna put in this tier, they're all kind of separate, but the other, like the cave cannibals, the ones you find down below. Now these first 2 guys that are wearing human flesh masks, there's a skinny version of each, which I could probably put, here's the skinny here and here's the skinny here. I could probably drop these down here, but for whatever reason, like once they hit this stage, they still feel tonky, and the skinny ones are fast as heck. So it's like you're fighting a little version of the Flash, and you're using a poking stick, which apparently you forgot to go to school to figure out how to move your arms, because you poke real slow. So it's really hard to hit these guys, especially with my favorite weapon. So that's why I put them here. They tend to have a little bit more health. The blue guys are like the cave dwellers. The gray guys are the ones, like especially this guy right here. He specifically can go suck a toe, because I swear when these dudes roll up, they just growl at you and just eat your damage and laugh at you as they do it. Also, they're wearing people's faces. I can't get past that. So you get formidable foe because you came with an intimidation factor. You're not only naked or painted like the other people. You're not flashing your boobs everywhere. Homie came wearing another homie to the dance. That's not okay. And these guys blend into the dark when you're in the caves, and it's scary, and there's a lot of them. So just heck all these guys. All of these guys. B tier is when the game starts to get hard. You start to get equipment, which is cool, and you can deal with them, but heck them all. Heck every single one of them. And I feel kind of bad because I have put all of the mutants, or all of the cannibals, below the mutants, but also that feels correct to me. So that's literally taking care of all of the mutants, or all of the cannibals. So this is going to populate the rest of the list. I'm going to get through these guys, but the mutants are going to make up your kind of harder and end game kind of stuff. These cannibals are going to populate a lot of your game. These guys roll up with them and like smack the crap out of you. So we're going to start with Armsy. I have to make sure I don't call it the wrong thing. So Armsy sucks. Armsy runs at your stuff, runs at you, is way faster than they should be, and kind of does like one of these, and every time that you get nicked by a finger of that, you just fly, and it sucks. And they're creepy. They make a horrendous noise, and like when you're in the dark traveling from place to place, or you're nice and cozy in your treehouse cuddling with your bros, and all of a sudden there's a giant thing, wiggly worm, outside your window threatening to eat you. They're horrible. I hate them. I hate them so much. Now, that being said, I don't feel like the early Armsy is a base cracker. They will wail on your stuff, don't get me wrong, but usually by then, by the time they show up, Molotov spear, that kind of stuff, like you can really start to focus them down. Throwing spears works pretty good on them because they have this giant massive torso. I don't know what it is, but like the flaily things are attached to is pretty easy to hit. While I very, very much never love to see one of these, most of the mutants also give you creepy armor, which is really freaking good. So this is kind of like, if I have to see a mutant, this is the one I hope to see, because I can feel like I can manage it the most, get some free creepy armor. Chef's kiss. It's great. Now I'm going to move the first Virginia here as well. This Virginia, or Legsy, however you want to call it, is also it's like B+. Again, you get to this point where you can manage it, but I hate spiders, bro. I freaking hate spiders. And this thing does this thing where it hisses and goes back up on his legs and does this weird like spider, crab, scorpion thing that just triggers my nightmares, and I hate it so much. It doesn't crack bases, but it cracks my soul. And so I feel like this one probably, again, should maybe even be in the A tier. You know what, man? No, I because of just sheer fear, it's going in the A tier. Never mind, it's in the A tier. Beside that, I'm gonna put its counterpart, the gray version, or blue version, whatever. Also sucks to deal with. I think it has more health and hit points, like as far as like damage. But everything I just said applies. I'm not gonna go back over it again. I'm reliving like in my nightmares right now. You get it. Virginia is horrible to deal with. This is also where I'm going to put blue Armsy. Now, the only reason I put that here is because I think, I could be wrong, correct me in the comments, they have greater hit points and damage. I don't think it's just the cave dwelling version. I think it's a little bit beefier. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like anytime I come up against a blue Armsy, I feel like I get just absolutely like trounced. Whereas when I come across the fleshy one outside in the daytime, it's not that big of a deal. Again, they could be the same, but just sheer nighttime scary floppy arm intimidation factor, it gets to the A tier for me. The next one, I hate this dude. This guy right here, cowman, bullman, whatever the crap you call him, the fat mother lover who runs through walls. That is literally why this tier exists. My base is gone. This guy runs, he blows through your walls. Half the time when I build those anti-measures that are supposed to bounce him off, he just says heck you and comes through the door anyway, like an uninvited guest. He has literally been the reason that when I early played with people who haven't played, like we all wiped. Like he killed all of us, and like getting back in there was just horrible. I know he's got a big body, easier spear throws, easier Molotov. I get it. This guy has such a stupid turn radius on his charge. Like he gets by you and all of a sudden you're still hit and all your armor's gone. This guy is literally made of bull crap. But this guy is this is one of my least favorite. If I hear thun, 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 I hate coming across this guy. Now in the caves, it's a little bit of a different story when you run across this guy, because I feel like you can get on rocks, or like the spoilers, the pit in the middle, if you know what I'm talking about, where the plane is. There's a lot of them in there, I believe, and you can kind of get up on rocks and you can kind of negate some of that bull crap charge, bull. Open play in the world, or a small cave like that, it's pretty wide open. There's a few of those. Like I've turned a corner and been face to face with one. It is the worst. You can still kind of manage them a little bit better in enclosed spaces, but wide open spaces, this thing sucks. I hate it. I hate it so freaking much. Okay, let's move on before I have an aneurysm. This is just, I don't remember what this one is called. It's basically the weaker version of the end game boss. And they were kind of like, we've thrown some horrible stuff at you. We need to throw more horrible stuff at you. And so they took the final boss and downgraded her and gave her a different like paint job. They're really annoying. They flop, they tear apart. Like it's just gross. Honestly, the fear and dread of seeing one of these the first time is pretty freaking awful. It doesn't give me the, oh my gosh, big spider vibes that like Virginia does. But it also doesn't give me the sheer terror that, you know, the end boss does. So she's gonna go in the A tier. I'm crying, but I'm not dead. That's a really apt description. Whether you agree with it or not, the bottom part here, these are the S tier picks, and I'm going to go through each one. I was going to leave one guy in the S tier, and I'll talk about him last. This is the S tier here. So first, we've got Worms, aka sausage guy. Like I've heard like 50 different names. Flying bag of 15 different worms that all want to kill you. Its agenda for the day is you need to die, and if it doesn't get it done, it's coming back to do it tomorrow. I hate this thing. Breaks apart. Like it is disgusting. It's terrifying to see it jump or fly or whatever you would call it. It is, oh my lord, like God spoke directly to whoever made this game, said, hey, you want to see the creepiest thing I've ever let someone think of? Boom, and gave the flying sausage link monster. I hate it. I've been against it once. I'm really hoping we hit it in our playthrough somehow. I think it only maybe comes up after you've beaten the campaign, but I don't remember. If you've ever wanted to know what it would look like if a can of Vienna sausages fell into radioactive waste, what the byproduct would be, it's this, except those Vienna sausages want you to die. Also, second up here on S tier, I've got to put the final boss, mainly because they slapped her with a 50 billion hit point health bar. I'm sure there's a way to cheese her, but especially the first time you're on there, I'm not going to spoil the who kind of deal. She's awful to deal with, and she's obviously built for you to have a hard time with. But she jumps, she moves, she's fast, she hits hard, she has a lot of health. She's not necessarily creepy, except her transformation cinematic is pretty freaking gross, especially when you realize what it is. But yeah, she's S tier because of sheer combat ability. If she came out in the open world, you would lose your base. You would lose everything. You would lose your bank account back home where you're not crashed. However, again, like it's sheer damage, it's sheer combat stats. This comes down to my final two, okay? And I need you to hear me out here. If I could go back and remake this tier list, I would add an S plus. These two beings were literally what, like, they're Satan's daddy, okay? They came with the smoke on this one, and these ones are just like the worst of the worst. When you see them, we'll get into that. Just uninstall the game. Honestly, just get rid of it. The first one we're going to go into is the mutant baby. This has so many levels of FU in it built into it. It's a baby, so you get the conscious guilt that you're stabbing a freaking mutant baby, okay? But it's also part boomerang. The mom and the boomerang got it on and got this baby going. It flies at you in a flying V shape and just does flips at you, which just completely like destroy your armor, destroy your health bar, destroy your hopes and dreams. It is awful to deal with, and they're usually hiding in the dark of a cave, and I hate it. Or they fall off of like any of the bigger beings, which is just way worse. And all of a sudden, the noise. Oh my God. Can we insert the noise right here? Oh my God. They are the worst enemy. They're small, they're fat, they're fast. They die in one hit. They shouldn't be S tier, but the sheer like guilt that comes along with it, the damage they do is unreasonably high. They can fling themselves on their single, I don't even want to call it a leg, their boomerang appendage to fly at you. These things are the worst of the worst. If this last guy didn't exist, this would be the S tier, S plus tier by themselves. I don't care. It can't destroy my base by itself. I know that. But you know what it did destroy? My love for being alive. So that brings us to the final dude. This guy right here is I had to make sure to put respect on the name and put him first. This guy right here is so stupidly broken. They took him out of the game before release. That automatically makes him God. That automatically makes him S tier. That automatically, when you are so good you break your own game, you are Jod. Like, you win. The tier list is over. S tier. This is the Dynamite Cannibal. Yep, Dynamite. He throws the same dynamite that you throw. That means it instantly destroys your buildings. That means it instantly destroys your armor. That means that it sets stuff on fire. It knocks down trees, your defenses, your weapons, everything you counted on, gone. Traps, gone. He also carries a freaking torch with him that if you decide to get melee range, he hits you with it and sets you on fire. Again, thankfully, they took this man's out of the game, but this man himself makes me very, very glad that game design and game balance exists, because I'm pretty sure they took this guy's concept and they made like the fire bro here. I mean, obviously they changed his look, but they made fire bro here where he throws the tennis balls way less intrusive and stuff, because this guy would literally level your base, level everything you worked on, and it was absolute amounts of bull crap. So that is going to be our tier list today. What do you guys think? Do you agree with what I said, or am I completely off base? But let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with what I put on here. Also, again, let me know what your most hated enemy is. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it, and the thumbs up. It helps us out. You know, that YouTube algorithm, slap that thing, whatever you want to do with it, please do it. And also, if you are interested in seeing our playthrough of the Force, what we've been going through, click on that playlist before. It's going to magically reappear now in case you decided after my genius level intellect tier list that you were interested. You can click on that and see, you know, our like 13, 14, 15 part series that we've got going. That's still going on. But that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for checking out the video. We will see you in the next one, and have a great day.